adjust myself here. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Real Cinema Talk podcast. I'm Saul.
I'm Alan.
And today we're going to be discussing Lilo and Stitch. As you can see, Alan was able to secure the collectible bucket from Regal.
Yes, sir.
So
I had to.
Yeah, I got to say, Regal, I think, blew it out of the park collectibles-wise from AMC.
Yeah.
Because the AMC one was kind of, man, you said it was $60.
It was $60, but take into account, this one's just for like a popcorn bucket. The AMC one had the straw coming out of his head. Mm-hmm. So it's like a cup and a popcorn bucket.
Oh, okay.
It's both. So I guess it makes sense. Because this was like 45?
Yeah, it was 45.
Yeah. I just kind of
I like it.
I just don't like the straw sticking out of his head. I kind of like this better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a lot to say about this
one. You don't seem happy.
I have a lot to say about this one.
I liked it.
You liked it?
I liked it.
Like, genuinely liked it.
I liked it. I know they changed a lot of things, for sure.
Yeah.
But that's what I kind of liked, that it wasn't just like a beat-to-beat remake. You know? Where it was just like identical. Mm-hmm. Kind of like with the Lion King one.
Yeah.
It's basically the same movie. Mm-hmm. Just live action.
Okay.
Realistic. Photorealism or whatever. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good time.
Okay. Well, my thoughts is I have to see it from two angles, right? Mm-hmm. Like, you have to see it as the film itself. Is the film good? Mm-hmm. But I feel like it's also inevitable to compare it to the original. We grew up, we saw it when we were little kids, and I feel like it's really hard to see it from just the film itself. So that's why I'm trying to see it from two sides when I'm thinking about this movie.
Yeah.
And I have to, I think by itself, in today's modern, the way movies are made for kids, it's good. Mm-hmm. It has the message, it's funny. But I feel like compared to the original, it just doesn't hit the same. Mm. And there's a lot of editing and dialogue issues for me. Surprisingly, for me, the ending is not the problem. And I know a lot of people, that's the main thing for them. I've seen a lot of people complaining about the ending.
I've heard all good things, to be honest.
I've seen...
Really? Have
both.
you seen mixture?
I've seen both.
Okay.
But to me, the main issues are the adjustments, the changes, and the reasons behind them. Mm. Because, the original's out. I feel like it's fair for us to just discuss what happens in this movie. If anything, we can save the ending as the spoiler section itself.
Yeah, most of the movie's pretty much like the original.
I feel like we're okay discussing the changes, except for the ending. The ending is the one thing that we can discuss after we give our rating and whatnot.
Yeah.
So for me, the plot, I would say is about the same, kind of. Just a little more different. And I feel like Lilo is not as independent as she was in the original movie.
Yeah, she...
Because I rewatched the second... I rewatched the original the day after.
Yeah.
Just to do an A and B, right from the gate. Mm-hmm. And I can see that already. She's more independent and more willing to... she doesn't care what people think as much. And in the remake, I feel like it's not the same personality for me.
It's more like she kind of just gives up, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I liked Lilo more because she had the courage to, say the things that people are scared to say. Mm-hmm. Especially with her and Stitch, how she tells him, he can go, no hard feelings, whatever, in the original. And I feel like in this one, there's not as much confrontation between her and Stitch.
So I was waiting. That's one of the ones where I was kind of waiting. That scene.
Yeah.
With the ugly duckling singer, the photo of the sister.
Yes. Yeah.
Because in the original, it's the sister, not the parents, right? Or
no, in the original, it's both.
It's both. Okay.
There's one of the sister and one of the whole family.
Yeah. And so Stitch grabs the picture, and she's just like, "That was the last straw right there. Don't touch it."
Uh-huh.
And Stitch kind of felt bad, I guess. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I was waiting for that little ugly duckling scene,
Yeah.
Where it's she kind of was like, "Oh, you can go if you want." In the original. In this one, it didn't really come. It came, but they changed it where he would just kind of go into the pound.
Yeah.
And the original, he goes into like the little, like the forest, I guess. Like,
and he falls asleep with the bug.
Yeah.
I feel like that makes it more
It's a little
sad for me.
Yeah. And then this one wasn't as sad.
Yeah, and I think it just having that duckling story in there was important for relating to him in the story. You know, like him being the ugly duckling of the whole family and being lost, and then they find him and, you know, bring him into their family. I feel like that was representative of what situation he was in, and the remake just didn't have that.
Yeah. Well, it's just more of like he didn't have a family. He's just kind of an experiment.
Yeah.
He doesn't really remember having anyone ever that cares for him. He's more of like a destroyer.
Yeah.
You know?
And so, like in the remake, the dialogue between him and Jumba, I think that's his name, the doctor, it wasn't there. Of him telling him like about the family, and then the Jumba saying, "You don't have a family. You're just an experiment." You know, like it made Stitch want to have a family, and in the remake there wasn't any of that. For me, at least, like it's just there's the original movie by itself, and then comparing it. That's why. Yeah. But by itself, like, you know, in today's modern era, it is good. I will say that. You know, it's funny. It's got. I mean, the plot does go through. You know, there's no slow pacing issues for me, at least. But comparing it to the original, it's just actually a few steps down for me.
I think for me, it seemed a little bit messy. Yes. Where it was like things. It would go from one thing to another, to another, and then it'd get to like a serious tone, and then it'd go back to like another crazy thing and another crazy thing. And I guess that's how the original was too. I just feel like this one just seemed kind of like out of place with some of the scenes.
Yeah, that was going to be my next point, actually. Yeah. It was going to be basically how I can tell this movie was made to pander to the TikTok era of the short attention span. Because every scene was so rushed. Yeah. And no scene was able to breathe, at least in the first half.
It seemed very quick.
I was like, bro, what is this? Like, it was so fast. Like, I couldn't get anything of the scenes. And I mean, I know that kids today have such short attention spans, but this is just encouraging that, you know? Yeah. Like, it's not letting you dive into the scene and appreciate, you know, the exchanges happening between people and such, you know? Yeah. I don't know. That to me, I may sound like a boomer, but it is what it is.
It's made for kids. For me. It's made for kids, but even when I went to go see it, I feel like most of the kids in my theater, at least, they were like moving around. They weren't really paying attention. There were some kids that were, but there was so many kids where they just weren't sitting. Like they didn't really catch their attention.
I had a kid on the row above me because I was in the Dolby theater. Yeah, and he sat on the rail, and he kept kicking it right above me, and he was coughing. On my hair. Like at least 4 times. And I was like, oh my God, this kid. Yeah. I didn't want to be rude, so I didn't say anything because you know, he's a kid. I'm not going to yell at a kid over that. Yeah. But I was like, bro.
Yeah, there was this kid in front of me in my theater. She kept trying to go to the restroom like every 15 minutes. Oh, really? And I understand maybe she's drinking a lot of soda or something, icy. But even the parents, like at one point, the mom, I think, she like got up with the kids and like left for like a good 10, 15 minutes. You know? So I can understand why they maybe wanted to do like the short scenes to kind of get the kids' attention. Maybe. But I feel like it didn't fit well with the movie.
It didn't. Yeah. Like there's a reason scenes need to breathe. Yeah. Otherwise, it just feels like rushed or like a Netflix show. Like, you know, I always have a gripe with Netflix shows because they always have such rush on things. Yeah. They don't let things breathe either. They need to make things as short as possible and whatnot because, I don't know, pandering to their short attention span that's happening. Yeah. But that was one of my gripes with the movie.
I just don't like that they didn't add one of the main villains. I forgot the name.
Captain Gantu.
Gantu, yeah.
That was my other complaint too. Because I mean, they can say all they want about it didn't work live, but we all know it's because of the money. Yeah. The money was the big factor on why they couldn't get him. Yeah. Like at least be straight up about it, you know. Like if they ask you a question, just say that it was because of the money. No shame in that. No shame in that. Yeah. Because I mean, he's a giant alien. I get it. You know, that's a lot of VFX work. Yeah. And if they're trying to meet a deadline, like, cool, cut him out, save the money.
Yeah.
But I didn't like that attributed to changing Jumba's character as a whole.
Yeah, because they made him basically the villain.
Yeah.
Of the movie.
I was like, bro, he was not this evil in the original.
Yeah, because even in the original, he starts kind of like how do you say sympathizing.
Yeah.
I don't think I said that right. But yeah, you know what I mean. He started like feeling for him.
Yeah, and willing to help out the sister get LILO, and because at first he was like, none of my business. We're just here for Stitch. I don't care. But then she's like, breaking down, asking them for help. And then Stitch is saying, let's go help her out. And then they're willing to help her out, and that just was not there. They just made him the villain and just threw the character out the door, basically, for me at least.
Yeah.
And also the voice. What was that?
He should have had an accent.
Like bro, he sounded like a typical whatever. There was no personality behind the voice.
So I watched an interview with Zach Galifianakis. He's Jumba.
He's Jumba?
Yeah, I didn't realize until midway through the movie. I was like, "Is that Zach Galifianakis?"
That's him.
And that's
I didn't
him,
recognize him, dude.
That's him.
What the heck?
And so he's saying like, "I don't understand why they didn't let me do an accent."
They didn't let him?
I guess he said that he wanted to, but that they thought it worked better as like a normal voice.
Bro, that voice does not match the character visually.
Yeah.
It just does not.
So it's just I don't know.
Wow, I didn't know that. That's surprising to hear.
I've seen it somewhere.
Huh.
I don't know if he said that exactly, but he said something about like then Disney just wanted a regular voice, not really an accent.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, summarizing it, I think the plot was weaker than the original.
Yeah.
But the plot by itself, for just the movie itself, it wasn't bad. It had some, excuse me, some good messages on, family. Just a different perspective of it. And I don't have a gripe with it. Other people do have a gripe with it. But I think the way they executed that decision was completely fine for me. They could have gone a couple different ways to make it seem a little worse, but I think it was fine as is. Okay, going back. Sorry, we cut that out. Yeah, I think the plot, aside from the ending itself, was completely fine. I was okay with the ending, this and that. Yeah. I kind of forgot what I said, so if we cut out, it's whatever. But for me, the plot was okay. Original movie, compared to the original, weak.
Yeah. Yeah.
You okay? Well, because you said you loved it, so I want to hear your opinion.
I didn't say I loved it. I said I really liked it.
Okay.
In the terms of it being one of the better live action films. Compared to like all the other ones. I'm a big supporter of like the Cinderella live action remake.
I haven't seen that one.
That one's really good. I would put that up there, and Lilo and Stitch, the new one.
Okay. Yeah, this is the only remake I've seen.
Oh, really?
The only one.
Okay.
Because I'm in the minority. Well, I don't know if I'm the minority or not, but I'm like, you don't need to make these movies again. No, yeah. The kids can perfectly fine going on Disney Plus and watching the original. Like, you don't need to remake it just for a few extra bucks.
It's a cash grab. Yeah.
Make more original movies.
Yep. Like, they're running out of ideas, dude.
That's why, make more originals. Come on.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, okay, let's just make some money off of the ideas we already had. Yeah. I'm too lazy to make new ones.
I'm glad that they did. If they were gonna make a remake, a live action one, I'm glad that they made a Lilo and Stitch one, because that for me is a really close to heart movie for me as a childhood. Me too. Like my childhood movie. I was a big fan, and I'm a big fan of that character. And I think they did really good with his character, CGI wise. They brought back the original voice actor.
Yeah.
And so, he looked good. He looked good. He acted the way he should.
Yeah.
There was some very depressing moments, very funny moments. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, characters wise, Stitch, perfectly fine. I think with Stitch they did a good job. With Lilo, like I said already, I feel like she was changed in not the best way because she's not as independent anymore. With the sister, they did add the additional layers of independence on her own personal life and the burden it takes to take care of your sister without your parents. I think the new character, the grandma of the boyfriend, she
comes out in the original, but she doesn't have big of a role. It's that lady with the glasses. She's like a really like old lady.
Oh,
I don't know if
oh,
you
she's
remember.
there for like maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah, and they kind of gave her a bigger role in the new one.
I mean, it was cool. I didn't mind it. That was fine.
I like her character.
A bigger sense of family. Like it doesn't have to be just blood.
Mm-hmm.
It can be your neighbors too.
Exactly.
So that was cool. I like that. I like that character.
I actually found out that the social worker, the lady, she is the original voice actress for Nina.
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
I had a feeling she was gonna be the.
There's a
I don't know.
couple-
Like I had a sense of something.
There's a
like
couple
that.
Easter eggs like that. I guess the other guy, the neighbor's son. What's his name?
The neighbor's son.
The guy in the movie, like the love interest.
Yeah, I forgot.
The one that would talk a lot, and he mess up everything.
Yeah,
I forgot his name. Sorry, but he, the original voice actor for
David.
David. Yeah, there you go. Sorry, David. The original voice actor for him was the boss of like that luau restaurant. Place.
Oh, really?
The one that kind of was like, it's not working out.
Oh, okay.
I guess he's the original voice actor for him.
Oh, so they brought some of the original cast back
Yeah.
in a different way. That's
Yeah.
cool. I can appreciate that.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool.
Bubbles, I didn't like him that much.
Yeah.
Feel like he felt like a Nickelodeon character.
He was supposed to be kind of menacing, and they kind of made him kind of.
Like it's cool that they brought in the original voice actor of Nina for Nani.
Nani? Or is it Nina?
Nani? I don't know.
I don't know.
As a social worker, but like that misses the plot of the original.
Mm-hmm.
Like Bubbles is just a random CIA agent, like out of nowhere. He's supposed to be retired and just a social worker that randomly bumps into this stuff.
Yep.
I just didn't like Bubbles' character in the new one that much.
That's another change that they made, It's just like,
Yeah.
should have kept it the way it was.
He was just, I don't know, he wasn't that menacing.
No.
Not like the original.
No. I feel like it's the actor, maybe. Nothing against the actor that played Bubbles, but I feel like they could have gotten a more mean-looking one, I guess.
Like, I could have sworn Luther from Mission Impossible is the original.
Oh, that would have been cool.
I think it is him. And even appearance-wise, he looks more intimidating, Yeah. I would have been more on board with him being there.
Or even like a Terry Crews.
Oh, Brittany told me that Terry Crews was a possibility.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, I feel like it would have made him more funny, though,
Yeah.
than menacing. But
Yeah.
he can be menacing. No
Yeah.
disrespect to Terry Crews, I swear.
But yeah, it's... I didn't like that character, but the Bubbles character. It's kind of forgettable.
Yeah.
He's just there.
And Jumbo and the other alien, what's his name? Pleakley.
Bleakly.
I don't like that they just played it safe and kept them in human form half the movie.
I was going to say that.
I didn't
That's
like
one of
that.
my knocks on the movie where, not like in the original, they stay as aliens and they just kind of make like a dress on her.
That's the humor
Yeah,
in it, you
yeah.
know? Like, how are they hiding with all the wigs and all that stuff? That's the funny part, but
Yeah.
they just took that out and made them humans. Like, dude, at least if you're going to remake something like this, and put in the money to make it as close to the original without, shot for shot remake, like, that's just a financial decision right there, getting in the way of the art.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
So it's always annoying to me when they make decisions based on just money instead of for the sake of the art or the story. It's just annoying.
They don't really... I see where you're coming from.
Yeah. Because I'm more about an arts guy than finance.
Yeah.
Like box office, I'm only interested in box office if it because it assures potential sequels and stuff. But aside from that, I don't care.
Yeah. Damn, you're making me knock my rating down.
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. I don't mean to.
Because you're giving good points, though. You're
Yeah.
giving good points. So I'm seeing it from a different point of view, and yeah.
But objectively by itself, like I'm saying, I think the characters objectively are not as bad. But compared to that one, they do take a couple steps down, I would say.
Yeah.
Because like this one feels like a Nickelodeon TV movie to me.
Yeah.
Or at least half of it, I would say. Not the whole thing, But it's a kid's movie too. So I'm not expecting an Oscar movie,
Yeah.
But there has to be a little standard, at least still for kids. Because,
Yeah.
there's kids movies that came out a while back that are still, a form of art.
Mm-hmm.
Like Tarzan is insane, incredible.
I mean,
And
they
that's a
tried
kids
making a
movie.
live action movie for that too.
Yeah, and Lilo and Stitch original is incredible. Lion King, the original, is incredible. The Incredibles is insane.
Yeah.
I love that movie too. Like, just because it's a kids movie doesn't mean you should limit yourself to not showing deep messages. Because kids are fast; they learn a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They learn through movies. They learn because they see a lot of movies, and the messages embedded within them teaches kids deep messages.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people underestimate kids.
Yeah.
And their potential to learn.
Yeah. I like the message of Lilo and Stitch with Ohana.
Yeah.
That means family, No one gets left behind or forgotten. I really, that stands close to me,
Yeah.
So I really like that about this movie. Music-wise, it's pretty good. They try to keep the same music from the original as well.
Yeah, I respect that.
Just a more modern take.
And I get why they took out the Elvis stuff, because I bet that music would have been expensive to pay for.
Yeah.
And I
they
mean,
added
that's
him
fine,
at the end in the credits.
Yeah, it would have been cool to see him in the Elvis suit, live action, but whatever. No complaints there.
Yeah. It's a cool little fella.
I would say dialogue, kind of weaker, like we said, fast-paced and just not letting scenes breathe.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, it's around the same lines. I think the original just had a little edge to it, but
yeah,
no complaints on dialogue as much.
No, I had struggles maybe a little bit with the Lilo character.
Okay.
But I understand because she's a little kid, like
Yeah.
still developing and growing up.
Yeah.
So I felt like her tongue was like kind of stuck at moments and words
Okay.
and such. She'd kind of talk a little. What's the word? I don't know what's the word. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it was fine.
Enunciation.
Yeah, the pronunciations were a little off. But I mean, what? She's like 5, maybe 6 years old in this movie.
I would guess 7, 8.
7, 8. Okay. Yeah.
But visuals, I think Stitch was the best part.
Yeah.
The aliens were kind of funky looking.
Yeah, Stitch looked like realistic.
Stitch looked the best, easily.
Yeah. The other characters looked a little more CGI.
Yeah. And they look too real, man.
Yeah?
Pleakley looked kind of scary.
He looked kind of slimy, huh?
Yeah, I was like... I mean, no complaints. If you want to go for realism, that's fine. It just looks a little scary.
Yeah. I probably, if I saw that fool in the streets, I'd be like, oh, yeah.
Get out of there.
Yeah. It's scary, bro.
Yeah. I will say, I think in the first, the opening scene, I mean, it did look visually good. Sorry.
But there wasn't any live action characters in there.
It was all CGI in that part.
Yeah, so that's why it looked really good. Yeah.
Sorry.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm a little sick, that's why. I do think the original had the edge over it too, because you show Stitch's capabilities, and in this one it was just more of him running.
Yeah.
Like running to get to the spot, but in the other one he was like holding down the gate that was shutting up and like breaking things and stuff. And even in the last act he was throwing cars and stuff in the original. In this one he was just kind of like running too.
Yeah.
Like I feel like they used him in or they displayed his abilities in a better way.
Yeah.
In the original.
Yeah. They showed his strengths,
Yeah. They
How
showed that
smart
he was something built to destroy. Like, legit.
Basically what he's supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Little squinkly.
Yep. Keep looking at it.
Yeah. Is there anything else you feel like we should discuss on this one?
I don't think so. I think we covered everything.
Yeah. I think so,
I think we covered everything.
Are you ready to give your rating?
Mm-hmm. Think I'm ready to give my rating?
I'm ready to.
All right.
I gave it a 6 out of 10.
6 out of 10?
6 out of... Because as a kid, I watched it. It's impossible for me to not compare it to the original.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. But, if it was an original movie that came out today, like without the previous one, I'd probably give it like a 7, 7.5.
Okay.
But I just can't avoid it.
I respect it.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to... I originally gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
Okay.
8.5.
Okay.
I think I'm going to give it, after the talk that we just had today, I think I'm going to give it... I can't give it under an 8, dude. I have to give it an 8.
An 8?
Myself.
Oof.
I have to give it an 8. I really truly believe it's one of the better live action remakes. I think it'll sit with kids of today. I feel like
I agree with that. No objection on that.
I feel like kids today would like it, and that obviously it is in box office.
It's blowing up.
It has like over 300 million or something like that in the first weekend. That's
crazy.
And it had a budget, I think, of like 100.
Yeah. And I think marketing budget was 102, so it already made back its money and then
some more. So I'm expecting a sequel.
Okay.
I would think, just based off of performance wise.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're gonna do it. They'd have to do it quick.
It's gonna be an original for sure because this deviates from the original, and so they can't copy the second one because it's different.
Makes it more interesting then.
Yeah.
More exciting.
I would be excited for that because that like would definitely be something original and a different take on it. So I'm more excited for that because then I have no reference for that. And
I mean, they might add characters from the other shows. And like
true. That's true.
Like Leroy, I like Leroy.
Yeah, I didn't see the show actually.
No,
Brittany told me about it. I was like, "There's a show."
Yeah, there's a whole show.
And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't know there was a show."
Yeah. And I think the second movie, he's like looking for his cousins.
The pink one, right?
There's like a pink one. There's a yellow one. I forgot what the yellow one's called. And then there's Leroy, the red one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And they kind of show it in the movie too, but where he's like, "I'm gonna change you to 627 or something like that." And there's like a little silhouette of someone. But yeah, I think I'm going to have to stick to an 8 out of 10 for me.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
So then I guess 4 stars and 3 stars.
It's like a 3.5.
So 3.5. So pretty much average.
Average.
Something like that.
I can agree with average.
Okay. So then, yeah, the Real Cinema Talk podcast rates this as at a 3.5 out of 5. I think it's worth checking out. Even though I just have some disagreeing points with it, it's still worth for you to check out and, have your thoughts on it because everyone thinks of the original movies in different ways. Some might like this one more for its realistic takes too, so you never know.
I personally like the original better.
Me too.
I just want to get that out there. I do like the original better, but it's a pretty good live action remake, in my opinion.
All right, so now let's go into spoiler territory here.
Yep.
Okay, so be warned. Now we're going to discuss spoilers on the ending and any other potential things. So this is your time to leave. Okay, so for those that stuck around, you either watched it or you just want to hear what happens in the end. So to summarize it down, basically, the original, what happens at the end is the social worker is going to take her away. Same deal as the remake. But where it deviates is that when the Trade Federation council, whatever, the aliens,
the councilwoman,
when she comes in, is about to take him away, and then they kind of give him the exile on planet Earth. The difference here is that in the original, they were protected by the council and the galactic, whatever the council thing. So therefore, the social worker respected that protection of the family, so they had to stay together, but in the remake that was not the case. It was just about him being exiled on planet Earth. So after that fact, the social worker had to still take LILO away. And throughout the movie there's displays of independence from Nani on her and her future, on her career of like marine biology and going to UCSD, so more of like her taking care of her sister, but her sister holding her back on her higher education. And from there, that's the variable that contributes to the deviation of the ending, which is that LILO is taken away and given to the neighbor, David and his grandma. So now they are the legal guardians of LILO, and now Nani can go and have her future in higher education.
Which she wasn't going to have if she would have stuck with LILO.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Now, the thing that, like, if it was just that for me, that would have bothered me. But there's that addition of them having the technology of teleportation.
Yeah.
So she can still go see her whenever she wants. So to me, that was like, okay, fine. Have the legal guardian. I can come over in the second whenever I want.
It almost seems like the other adult characters don't, like Bubbles and like that older lady. didn't know that they were doing that though.
And that's fine.
And I feel like they're like hiding it, I guess.
Uh-huh.
And it's fine because LILO is still seeing her sister.
Yeah, that's why I don't have complaints, because it's a more realistic take on things that can happen in today's society, while still giving that, hey, they can still see each other, no big deal, you know? Like it's kind of the same as the original, that they still are connected and talk to each other, just in a different way, a different perspective of that ending.
Yeah.
So to me, I have no objections on that.
I just didn't like that they Nani or Nina basically gave up LILO, because I don't remember that happening in the original.
It didn't.
And like she was taking them upstairs, and like she just gave up on taking care of her. And I guess it's for LILO's best interest to like, or for both basically, where it's best for both to separate so that she can't handle. She felt like she couldn't handle everything. You know, all the bills, keeping the job, keeping her just in a good space, I guess. You know, and so I don't know. It kind of got me a little upset, because I was like, why are you giving up on LILO? You know,
I don't see it as her giving up though, man. Like, let's say the government comes in and says you have to do this. Like, what are you gonna do? There's nothing for you to do,
I'm running away,
man.
bro. I'm running away. Mexico.
No, but I mean, you see what I mean,
Yeah,
right?
no,
Like,
yeah.
if an agency comes in and says you're unfit to take care of your sister, like, your hands are tied.
Yeah.
It's not like you're giving up. It's like there's no other choice, you know? Like, you don't have the finances, you don't have the resources or the knowledge to manage a child, let alone, you know, dealing with all the healthcare, because you yourself are like 18, 19, you know? Like, some people can handle it and do pull through and do it, but not everyone's the same.
Yeah.
Everyone's different.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why it's not like she's giving up. She's trying to give her a better life while still staying in that life, you know?
Yeah.
Kind of like on paper, the neighbor's the guardian.
Yeah.
But, you know, in real life, she can teleport and come and take care of her, you know? Or LILO can teleport and come over and hang out. Yeah, like, it's still, on paper, it's bad, but at the end of the movie, they still talk to each other and interact.
All right. You changed my perspective.
You know, like it's
Yeah.
it's like not everything's perfect, not everything's gonna come out the way we can expect. You know, like let's say you're trying to get a house, right? And you want the whole backyard, you want the super fancy kitchen, this and that, but you can't always have that.
Yeah.
And you gotta have workarounds on how to get some of that stuff. You know, you can buy a crappy house and fix it up. It's kind of like those are the obstacles that life throws at you.
Yeah. Hey, that was deep. That was deep.
That'll make it on the reel or what?
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Yup.
I got a little scared or like nervous towards the end of the movie, where obviously they had said that if he touches water or is in water, his molecular density rises, which makes him heavier.
Yeah.
So they showed that at the end when they go into the water. LILO tries to pick him up a couple times. It's too heavy.
Yeah.
And then I got a little more sad when he kind of like she was holding his hand, and like he pushed her away, and then he went down and he was like this, floating down. I was like, no.
I know, that was sad.
Yeah.
I mean, they handled that scene well.
Yeah.
It got to me too. I was like, fuck.
I was a little sad, bro. And then you just see him on the ground. He's just like this, right? Sitting down. I was like, no, he's going to die.
I know.
I was like, they're really about to kill him? I was like, they're pulling a Toy Story 3 right now? I said, no way.
Man.
I was upset.
I was emotionally invested in the movie. I'll tell you that. Like, I wasn't just grumpy the whole time. Like, I was getting into it, and, you know, I still love Stitch, so I was still having an interest in the movie.
Yeah.
But, yeah, those scenes got to me, too.
Or even when they do end up saving him, they take him out of the water. They use the jumper cables with the truck.
Oh, yeah.
And he still didn't wake up. I was like, nope, he's dead. That's it. My eyes started getting watery. I was like, my boy.
Yeah.
You know? But then he woke up. I was like, all right. Yeah. They got me. I was like, no. I was like, somehow he's going to come back.
Yeah.
There's no effing way they're just going to leave him like that. But yeah. I'm glad they brought him back. It got to me, guys. It got to me.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they're gonna make the sequel now, though, because they're not living together.
They might not make one. Who
They
knows?
might not, but I mean, we know Disney. They see the
Yeah.
money, they're like, all right, let's follow that
Everybody
money. Let's
loves
see what else
Stitch.
we can do.
Yep. So we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Any other things you want to discuss that are spoilers?
No, I think that's it.
All right. Well, yeah, we recommend you guys check it out. I think it's worth checking out. So go check out in the theater or maybe in like the 3 weeks because they always post it on Disney Plus after a few weeks.
I give it a month, you know?
Yeah. 3.5 out of 5 stars.
Oh, I was about to say. I was like,
yeah, no.
It's not a 3.
So yeah, that's been the Real Cinema Talk podcast, and we hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Later, guys.